Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports, where every play counts. I'm Grant. I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, Grant. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Got a lot to talk about, so I'm excited to go ahead and dive right in. And we'll start out this episode like how we start out every week, and that is with our hot take of the week. So, Mason, what is your hot take for this week?
All right. My hot take is that people need to hop off Shador acting like they know him personally, and the amount of glaze is unreal. Um, like it's my thing is like, okay, sure, he didn't play great in like the half he came in and stuff, but it's more of the people who are backing him up. Like we know he hasn't had many opportunities and stuff like that yet, and like people are saying he didn't do well, which he didn't do well in his first appearance. But people are like, oh, he didn't even get first team reps and stuff, and like in practice, and like he should still be ready. I mean, he's the quarterback two of the team. It's not like that's a valid excuse. I think that they just need to calm the heck down, let things develop, and stop backing him up like he's the greatest player of all time. We've seen this ever since the combine days, coming or even out of college. It's just I've never seen so many people defend a guy like I've seen Shador without like even just his first appearance in the NFL. It's just unreal. Um, and I'd like it to stop, but it won't. So I blame the media and I blame his followers for being a little over the top. Everyone just needs to chill out.
Yeah, I agree with you. He definitely struggled in his first game, and if you're going to compare him to Tom Brady, like some of these fans are, then you better not use him not getting first team reps as an
Hmm.
excuse. You better have a better excuse lined
Exactly.
up than that if you're going to compare him to Tom Brady. So, yeah, I agree. I think that his his whole thing, it's like it's so two-sided. There's either people that don't like him because of what the media has done, or now there's people like because of what the media has done that are like absolutely glazing him. So there needs to be like a middle line here that needs to be formed.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I agree. I think that it's pretty hard to defend what happened this last week. So um, yeah. My
Hmm.
hot take of the week is that I think with Brock Purdy back, the 49ers are back to being Super Bowl contenders. Purdy had a great week. He only threw for 200 yards, but had 3 touchdowns. And two of those, the biggest thing is two of those were to George Kittle. And the biggest problem with Mac Jones was he and Kittle did not seem to have a connection. And they would struggle together, but seeing Kittle get 2 touchdowns in Brock Purdy's first game back, they were absolutely rolling like how they were the last few seasons with Brock Purdy at the helm. Say what you want about Brock Purdy, system quarterback, not a system quarterback, whatever. There's one thing for certain: when he's in that offense is really good, and we'll see what happens here down the stretch of the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing them in the playoffs again, going for another chance at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Next thing we're going to do is go over underdog of the week. So, Mason, I'll let you go ahead and begin with that.
So I just went for a team. I feel like I haven't heard much of them. I'm also not big into like NBA Twitter and stuff like that too. And that's the Toronto Raptors. They're 9-5 right now. Won 7 of their last 8. Guys are playing really well, like Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, they're playing well, and I think they're first in the Atlantic Division or something like that right now. So
Mhm.
definitely definitely a huge shout out to them because I feel like they've been kind of swept under the rug for right now. It's still very early in the season, but they've been winning games that they've needed to win.
Yeah, I've actually really enjoyed seeing the Raptors play this year. I've seen some of their highlights, and they're playing a really fun brand of basketball. They got a fun group of young guys that are getting better. Obviously, they have Brandon Ingram, who's been a good addition for them. RJ Barrett's off to a
Mhm.
hot start. Scotty Barnes is, like we all know, a future All Star. Actually, he already was an All Star last year, but he's
Mhm.
on his way to being a superstar. He's very talented. Quickly playing some very valuable minutes for them. And they have a really fun head coach from that European guy. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but it just seems like they're headed in the right direction. And it will be interesting to see with how wide open the East is this year if they go and make that big move for, a big star. I already know that we're seeing things about Anthony Davis potentially being available at the trade deadline, John Morant, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see if the Raptors get aggressive there, if they feel like they're a piece away from being true competitors in the East. But so far, they're off to a good start this season. So I like that pick. For my underdog of the week, I'll stick with basketball. I'm going to go with the Detroit Pistons guard, Dennis Jenkins. With Cade Cunningham out, this guy's slid in to his role. And in the last 4 games with Cade Cunningham out, he's averaged 21.8 points, 7.8 assists, and 4.3 rebounds, and has led them to a 4-0 record. So no Cade Cunningham, no problems because they have Dennis Jenkins right now. So just wanted to shout him out because I don't think too many people would have expected that with Cade Cunningham being out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Now we're going to go ahead and get over to the NFL, and we'll start with our game predictions update. This is where on Instagram and TikTok, every week, Mason and I predict every game that's going on, and we keep track of the record. So the record update now, I am at a 113-50 record after going 11-4 this last week, and Mason is at 106-57 after going 10-5 this last week. So still plenty of time to go, but that's where the updates are at right now.
Okay.
All right. Now, what we're going to do is go into our 3 takeaways. This is what we do every week of the NFL, just kind of 3 pointers that we want to point out, things we took away from the last week. So, Mason, I'll let you go ahead and start.
I think mine's gonna kind of be a little more discussion based rather than just takeaways because we've gone through a big portion of the season so far, and we kind of have a look of what teams are what right now as far as records. So the first thing I like to point out is that the Broncos, they beat the Chiefs 22-19. We all know the Chiefs are not, the team that they were last season, seasons before. They just have not looked like that team. Sure, they're still a good team who I don't know if they will sneak into the playoffs, but they're still kind of over there. My question is how legit of a team are the 92 Broncos right now? I mean, they beat the teams like the Eagles and they just beat the Chiefs, but again, it's still 2025 Chiefs. But they've come close in games with the Jets. They almost lost to them in, I think it was London. They should have lost to the Giants. Had a very bad game against the Raiders, so they should have lost to them as well. And then the Texans. So all of those games are decided by 3 points or less. So it kind of leads me to question, like, are they going to be a good playoff team? Do they have what it takes? Sure, we've talked about their fourth quarter comebacks and their comeback ability with Bo Nix at the helm, but are they going to be able to last in games where it matters against powerhouse teams? So that's kind of a question I have.
I'm going to be honest. I think I disagree. I think that, those games you're saying you should have lost. Well, they didn't lose. And in fact, they put up a very valiant effort to come back and win those games, especially that Giants
Against
one,
lower
for
caliber
instance.
teams, though.
Well, yeah, but it battle tests you and gets you ready for the playoffs. It doesn't matter what team you're playing.
Yeah.
Any team can win on any given week in the NFL. How many times do we see a no-name team that you're not expecting to win beat a good team like Jacksonville absolutely dog walking the Chargers this last week?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time. So I really think that Denver has proven themselves as a high caliber team, especially with that defense they have. I will give you this. My one concern on them is Bo Nix. I don't know if he's quite there yet. He's shown very inconsistent flashes. I saw someone making a pretty funny comparison saying that this Broncos team is like if the Zach Wilson Jets had good talent around them. I don't know if I'm quite there yet,
Yeah.
but I do think that Bo Nix is the biggest concern of this team. They'll go as far as he goes. But I don't agree with the whole they should have lost and they won, so that doesn't make them a good team argument.
I'm not saying they're a bad team. I just don't know. I think it's just more of a question if they're going to be able to beat these, teams like, say, in the AFC playoffs, they go against the Patriots, who, in my opinion, are one of the most dominant teams in the league right now. And then, the Bills are looking, pretty good as well. So it's very interesting, and I'd love to see it. And then you have teams like, the Bears, who are 7-3 right now.
Hmm.
Is that a team who could make it through to like another far kind of push for the NFC playoffs? You just don't know. Like Caleb Williams, like you mentioned with Bo Nix, he's been very on and off as well. Sure, he's shown a lot of maturity, but is he able to push that team to the next level and kind of get them to where they need to be? I think this is kind of like a development year because they have so much new stuff going on to where if they are going to make a big push, I think it'll be next year. This is a great season that they have going on. I could see them going out and maybe round one or two. They just have so much they still need to gel together. So I really like what the Bears are doing, but like I mentioned, I think next year will be a much better and smoother year. Um, and then the Colts, the Colts have kind of been having a year like that as well. I think that they could I think that they were very heavily reliant on Jonathan Taylor. I think we kind of mentioned it last week. So if Jonathan Taylor was not putting up the performance that he has been, this Colts team would not look anywhere near as good as they are because Daniel Jones sure has looked great, but it's still at the end of the day, Daniel Jones. We've seen kind of some flashes of him kind of being that old quarterback that he was, but still his best season by far. So I think it's just very exciting to see. I can't wait for the playoffs to start to see what teams are what, because right now, in my opinion, the two best teams in the league are I like Eagles are there, but they're not. Like they have so much internal stuff going on right now to where I don't know if they're one of the best NFC teams. Like you mentioned earlier, the 49ers are a very good team. So, but the AFC, I think the Patriots are the best team probably in the league. So I'm just gonna stick with that, kind of takeaway.
Yeah, I agree there. It's very interesting to see all these teams and where they're at. It's a different group of teams than what we've seen over the last few
And I
years.
love
So
it.
very
Love it.
unpredictable. But I definitely agree with you on that Bears take. I actually have them in my takeaway. Because
Hmm.
it's their first time going 7-3 since 2018, which is a big thing for
Yep.
them. But I don't think they're quite there yet as far as being like a real
Yep.
like threat in the playoffs. I think they need a couple more pieces, a couple more developments with Caleb Williams and some of those other guys.
Hmm.
So I do agree with you there, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting seeing how these teams shape out as we go down the stretch here. Because there's even who's to say that the Bucks won't get back into being a team of
Right.
discussion
Right.
on once Bucky Irvin's back and stuff like that. It's just so many question marks that we're gonna have to wait and see be answered before we can make a real confident prediction in who the
I
best two
know. I
teams are.
know.
Um, but I do agree with you. I think the Patriots, as of right now, are the most dominant team in
Hmm.
the league. But that can all change because Drake May is still young. At the end of the day, that can all change if
Yes.
he goes through a rough patch or something. We'll see. I don't think he will, but yeah, it's very interesting.
Hmm.
All right. So for my three takeaways, I'll go ahead and start. I had a Shador Sanders take as well. I just said that I don't think Shador Sanders is ready yet. Obviously, we saw his half of football. He went 4 of 16 for 47 yards, one interception, and 2 sacks, and lost to the Ravens. And kind of something you and me were talking about. That I want to get out there is people are saying like, oh, it's against the Ravens. Well, you pointed this out, and I noticed this too. The Ravens are a bottom 10 defense in the league right now. Like they're not a good defensive team. So that's not a good excuse you can use. Obviously, the excuse we were talking about earlier about him not getting reps in practice with first team, that's not, in my opinion, that's not a good excuse to use. Um, Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like you mentioned, like them comparing him to Brady. Brady came in, and he kind of came in through injured Bledsoe, and then the next season they won a Super Bowl. So I mean, that was a much very he was ready. He was ready for the moment. So if
Yeah,
you're ready,
I
you're ready.
agree. Yep. I agree. I just don't think Shador Sanders is quite there yet. I'm not saying he never will be, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with him. I try to stay in the more neutral lane with him because I know how
Yeah,
passionate
yeah,
his fans are, as we've learned on TikTok before.
man,
Um,
whatever.
my second takeaway is that I think the Chiefs are in real trouble here of not making the playoffs. Obviously, they're 5-5 right now, out of playoff contention. A team like the Carolina Panthers have a better record than the Chiefs, which kind of just goes on to what we were saying about how unpredictable this season has been. But I'm looking ahead at their schedule here. In Week 12, they got a game against the Colts, which will be a tough test for them. And then in Week 13, they got to play against the best offense in football in the Dallas Cowboys. So those are two losable games, especially with the way they've been playing. So I don't know. It's looking like there might be a chance that the Chiefs don't play playoff football this year. We'll see what happens, but they're in real trouble.
That'd be something.
Yeah. And then my third and final takeaway, like I said, was about the Chicago Bears. I just noted that, they're absolutely rolling right now, 7-3, first time since 2018. Like I said, just good to see. They're a fun little team to watch. They're exciting, but
They
like you
are.
said,
They
I don't think that they're like some playoff threat team. But yeah,
are.
shout out the Bears.
Another quick thing I'd like to mention is how different 5-5 teams are compared to the Ravens and the Chiefs. It's like
Yeah,
one is probably going to keep climbing, and one it's like, man, they could really be in trouble of going under 500. So it's kind of something like to the side that you kind of pay attention to while you're watching all these big caliber teams fit to where
yeah,
they're going.
yeah. That's a very good point. I do have a question though. I do think the Ravens are definitely the better chance to make the playoffs, but when
Yeah,
Dylan Gabriel was in that game when they were playing the Ravens, they were
I know.
winning.
hmm
Do you think that the Ravens would have won that game if Gabriel kept playing, or do you think Shador Sanders kind of bailed them out and gave the Ravens a win?
Uh, I don't. I think that the Ravens kind of still would have found a way. Um, that is it is a good thing to think about because I was thinking about that kind of earlier today. Because Dylan Gabriel, he was playing good. He was playing good football. If it was good enough to beat them and kind of stop what was inevitably, I think, coming from that Lamar Jackson led offense, I don't know, but it's something really fun to think about. I think because say Dylan Gabriel did stick it in or stay in the game and win, that no one would even questioned if Shador Sanders was good or not. So
Yeah,
that kind of would have solidified him beating the Ravens of how I think Dylan Gabriel is as a quarterback.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think the Ravens would have ended up finding a way to win regardless. I was just interested
hmm
to see your thoughts on that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
all right, now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the NBA, and we're going to do our player and team of the week. So, Mason, I'll let you go ahead and begin with your player of the week.
My player of the week is Hawks Jalen Johnson, 24 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, and 9 assists per game. So the Hawks have been looking good. And yeah, he's been looking really solid lately. So yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah, I agree. He's been a fantastic player. He was really a player that was breaking out last year, playing at an all-star level until he had that season-ending injury.
hmm
So I was very interested to see him coming into this season. Right now, he's looking like a front runner to win Most Improved Player. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, some pretty good stats on the offensive end, but also on the defensive end, he's been absolutely fantastic. I believe he had a triple double last week and almost made it a quadruple double with like 7 or 8 steals. So he's been very good for this Hawks team. So I like that pick a lot. For my player of the week, I can't just keep like I feel like we got to give Jokic a week off, so I didn't go with
Oh,
Jokic
I know. That's what
despite
I
him
did.
having another great week. I'm gonna go with the Rockets center Alperen Şengün, who in his last 5 games has averaged 24 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 7.6 assists, and they're 4-1 in those last 5 games. So as much as Jokic deserves it, I feel like we need to take a week off of glazing him every single week.
hmm
So I went with Alperen
That's
Şengün
where
this
I am
week.
too.
Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and give our team of the week. So Mason, who's your team for this week?
Yeah, so every week I was kind of putting them to the side because I'm just like they're too good of a team to just keep talking about, kind of like Jokic, and that's OKC Thunder. They're 14-1 right now, but they're beating good teams. Like the Lakers have been playing well this season, and I think they just beat them by 30 the other night. So
Yeah.
it's like, could this be one of the most dominant seasons we've seen from a team? I don't know, but it's very fun to think about. So we'll see if they can continue to keep winning. They have a pretty, I think, easy schedule coming up as well. So we'll see if they can kind of just keep pushing out wins. But yeah, man, they've been balling, picking up right on the same foot.
Yeah, it's crazy the start they're off to. And mind you, this is without Jalen Williams, who was by far their second best player
Mm-hmm.
on this team all of last season. So when they get him back, they're going to hit even another level that, it's going to be crazy seeing what they're going to do this season. They're off to a crazy start, 10-0 in their last 10, 14-1, like you said, just playing good teams too and beating them. It's absurd what they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So my team of the week is also going to be the Houston Rockets. I was just talking about Alperen Şengün, so I might as well shout out the Houston Rockets, who are 9-1 in their last 10, 9-3 overall. Um, they've looked they looked like one of the only teams in the West right now that could put up a fight against the Thunder. They did lose to them, but they forced it to overtime when they played them. They got a fun young team with the Amen Thompson and Şengün, and obviously they got the old head and KD,
KD.
but a good one. Um, they're just a fun team to watch, and I wanted to shout them out because I was gonna pick the Thunder, but I was like, I figured either you were
Yeah.
going to, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. So I'm just gonna go with the Rockets as my pick, even though I just picked Şengün for Player of the Week. But I sound like a Rockets fan.
It's like the teams that are playing well are just continuing to play so well, and it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
because I was thinking of picking like the Pistons, but I'm like I think I picked them last week, so I'm just gonna pick another team who's been balling. So it's kind of like I'm going in a certain like a cycle. So I'm trying to
Hmm.
like what I did with Underdog, pick the Raptors, who kind
Yeah.
of emerged in the past week or so. So yeah,
Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and slide over to the MLB because we got some stuff to talk about there. The MVP awards have been announced. First, we'll just start. Shohei Ohtani won NL MVP. I don't think anyone disagrees there. Mason, do you disagree with that?
maybe Matt. No, maybe
Yeah,
Matt does.
maybe Matt, the Mets fan, might disagree, but I don't think anyone else on planet Earth would disagree with that. But now we'll talk about the AL MVP, which I think there's a little bit more room for debate there. Aaron Judge has stolen the MVP award from Cal Raleigh. And
Stolen,
let's go ahead and
stolen.
have this debate because I'm ready to go ahead and dive in. So, Mason, do you think Aaron
All right,
Judge
say
deserves
your
MVP
piece.
this year? Oh, you want me
Yes,
to
I
start?
do. Say your piece. Yeah,
Okay, so let me start with a disclaimer. I think that both players were I think both players deserved MVP this year. I think both of
I
them
agree.
had absolutely
Mhm.
absurd seasons. Like I'm not when I'm making this argument, I don't want to make it sound like I'm a Judge hater because I do think Judge had a
Right, right.
fantastic year. One of the main reasons of my argument here is that I think Aaron Judge is just going to win so many more MVPs that they could have given one to Cal Raleigh. That's where a lot of my argument stems from. But going into the statistical side of things, I'll go ahead and start. Cal Raleigh this last season hit 65 home runs, include when you include the playoffs, which actually beat Aaron Judge's record the year he won MVP and broke the record for home runs, which included the playoffs as well. He had the second highest defensive WAR amongst catchers last season, so he's very valuable at catching. The only person that had a higher defensive WAR was JT Realmuto. So we already know that he plays incredible defense behind the plate, which is the most valuable spot on the field besides shortstop as a catcher. So that's my other point. Not just saying that he gets it done with the bat, but he gets it done on the defensive end too. He had the most home runs by a catcher in a single season, the most home runs by a switch hitter in a single season, and the most home runs by a Seattle Mariner, passing a guy that I don't know if too many people have heard of him. Goes by the name of Ken Griffey Jr. Beat his record. And then on top of that, he led the AL with 125 RBIs, had the third highest in MLB. Kyle Schwarber beat him there. And I can't remember who else in the NL. I think it might have been no, not Trey Turner. I don't know. Someone else in the NL had the second highest, and then it was Cal Raleigh in third. And then here's my argument. When we look at who's more valuable for their team, I think Cal Raleigh is more valuable for his team. He led the Mariners to their first ALCS appearance in 25 years, had a very successful season for the Mariners. The Mariners haven't won anything like that in a very long time. And we watched the Yankees lose in underwhelming fashion again last year, not getting to the finish line
Okay.
like they do every year. So that's my arguments
Okay.
on why Cal Raleigh deserves MVP. And I get you're about to pull out the whole, well, Judge had a higher batting average and Judge had more this and Judge had more that. But I think the more valuable player last year was Cal Raleigh. The more talked about season last year will be Cal Raleigh. I think when it's all said and done, like 5 years from now, people are going to remember Cal Raleigh's 65 home run season more than Aaron Judge's 317 batting average season, where they lost in, what was it, the DS
It's
round?
331.
Oh,
It's
331. My
331.
bad. Yeah, so I think Cal Raleigh should have won MVP because we will never see a catcher probably ever do this season ever again. So I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought this could have gone either way. I was kind of ready for Cal, I think, to win it, but I like everyone knows the numbers as far as like the major hitting stats and stuff, but my thing is like they didn't even award Cal really of like a gold glove, did they?
I mean, he won Platinum Glove the year before, and actually a
No,
lot of people are saying he should
I
have
know.
won. A lot of people are
Right,
saying
that's
he
what I'm
should have
saying.
been in the Gold Glove, and they didn't give it to him this year because they gave it to
So
Dylan Dingler of the Detroit Tigers.
So, like, I think the beef should be more of like against the committee than a whole Judge versus Cal Raleigh thing. Because, you know, if he was like first in like what almost every catching defensive stat or something like that, and he still
Mm-hmm.
didn't win it. So I think it's more of a thing that they should do against the voting committee or whatever. But I mean, I think Judge, it's not been his most impressive MVP season. It is still a great MVP season, but I think the 2022 season probably would have beat both of these guys because this is when he did was when he did have the home run record for the season. But
The one that
um,
Cal Raleigh
I
broke.
mean, yeah, but that was plus playoffs, and they went further in the playoffs
Well,
in
I mean,
22.
I feel like playoffs is more important than regular season, to be fair.
I mean, I agree as well, but that's not how they vote it, I guess.
I'm
If
just
if they
saying.
want to change, I agree that they should have had the playoffs as well. But I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Um, so you think if both teams didn't have these players, you think the Yankees would make it farther than the Mariners would?
I think they'd
Because
both
that's
be
what you're
pretty mid,
saying
to
as
be
far
honest.
as
I think they'd probably make it to about the same spot. Cal
what,
Raleigh
like
was
maybe.
solo. Like we don't know where the Mariners would have been in the record because you know how close that division was. We don't know where the record would have been
No,
with
I
Cal Raleigh
do.
not on that
Yeah,
team.
that's
Um,
that's
because
true.
he was single handedly winning them games. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. That's a hard hypothetical to answer. I think probably they'd both be around knocked out around the NLDS
If
wild
that,
card, maybe. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. I mean, it's definitely something that like fun to think about, but I mean, I don't know. I can't. There's not much I can really say other than just the obvious stuff because that's really all I have. That's all you really can say on Judge's behalf. But I mean, they voted how they voted. Do you think Cal will have a similar? Probably won't have as good of a season, but do you think he'll put up kind of similar numbers to what he did this year? Maybe next year.
I personally don't think so. I think it's going to be so hard to do that again. That's a once like especially from the catcher position, a switch hitter like that's like we're not going to see that again in a long time. I don't think. I think he'll still be like a 50 home run guy, but I don't think he's going to be like in the MVP race every single year from here on out. I personally. That's where I stand.
Mhm.
And that's part of my argument because I think Judge will be an MVP caliber player for the next
Yeah, but
5 years.
you can't vote off of
Uh, but
future
but
success.
but here's the thing: did that not kind of happen with the NBA last year when we gave it to Shea because we knew Jokic is gonna be in that race every single
I
year?
don't think so. I don't think so.
Do we not think that Jokic deserved MVP last year?
I do believe he should have, but I don't think that's what they, did as far as the voting on Shea winning.
Do you think they
Jokic
based it on
absolutely
winning per
deserved it.
se?
Yeah.
So do you think that maybe Cal Raleigh should have been decided based on winning?
I don't know. I mean, they had a better all around team in my opinion.
The Mariners have a better all around team than
Yeah.
the $1 billion Yankees.
Yes. Yeah. You could blame Cashman for that.
Okay. I just think
The
that
pitching, definitely.
we saw we saw a historical season from one of the most
We
valuable
did.
positions on the field, and I think it
Mhm.
deserved to be awarded, despite the hidden metrics or whatever that Aaron Judge had, and they were great, fantastic hidden year by him. Improved from average, all aspects of his game he kind of improved on. Didn't strike out nearly as much as he's done in the past.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm not knocking him. I just think what we saw from Cal Raleigh is truly a one of a kind season, just like that Aaron
Mhm.
Judge one was a couple years ago. Um, like I'm not going to be shocked if Aaron Judge goes and duplicates those numbers next year, but I'll be more shocked if Cal Raleigh goes and duplicates those numbers next year.
So, do you think if Cal was on an NL team, he would have won it or no?
Ooh,
Because that's another question. That's like I feel like it's a very similar argument.
yeah, that's a tricky one. I
Because then
mean,
you involve the pitching aspect,
yeah,
which
exactly.
you can't say
If
he's not
yeah,
a better all around
If
player.
Shohei didn't pitch, and I think that hidden wise, obviously Cal Raleigh would have won. But I mean, would you think Judge if Judge went to the NL? Do you think he would have beat Shohei? Like
No,
like I don't know.
I
Shohei,
don't.
I
I
think
don't think
Shohei
he
is
would have.
the MVP.
If they had one MVP award, Shohei would just win it every year,
I think he's the MVP of the league
and
personally.
Judge would win like Offensive Player of the Year every year or something.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was
I
tricked
agree.
because like statistic wise, Cal really did have a way better offensive year
Right,
than
right,
Shohei, but then you got to put in the pitching metric, so it's hard to
exactly.
like
And
kind of
even
measure.
even seeing how he used to be, Shohei didn't have nearly as well of a pitching season that he could do. So I mean, it's just like one of those
Yeah.
things.
And then you can make the argument we were making earlier. You take Shohei out of that team, they're probably still making it to at least the
Mm,
NLCS.
yeah, they're definitely absolutely yeah.
Yeah, not knocking Shohei at all. Obviously, he's the most valuable player
No,
on
no,
that
no.
team. But
That dang
I
team,
don't know.
what is like a
Yeah,
freaking $2 billion team or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I don't know. I think like I said, I don't want to make it seem like I don't think Judge doesn't deserve it. I do think he's deserving. I thought both candidates were deserving. I just think when you see a season as historical as Cal Raleigh's was, I think you got to give it a reward.
Hmm.
That's just where I stand.
No, I mean I agree with that. I agree.
But I'm not like mad. I'm not like mad about it. Where I'm like, this is an out like the Cade Horton situation last week. I'm
Yeah,
not like
it's
that.
been
I'm not
outrageous.
quite there, but I do think
Okay.
that Cal Raleigh was just as deserving as Judge. Maybe they should have done a co MVP this year.
You know how many people would have freaking flipped out from the New York side of
I know
things, man? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
it will be interesting though to see if Raleigh can produce at the same level.
That's
I don't know if
like
he can. Just that's a
I
lot.
was thinking earlier in the season, I'm like, dude, I don't want to sweat all season, with the whole MVP talks. I just want Judge to just be the clear cut MVP like he was. But of course, he was home run after home run. There'd be some games he'd hit 2 or 3. I'm like, golly, this dude won't go away. And then they bring
Yeah,
in the
he was
defense part of
crazy.
it. I'm like, jeez. So I think
Yeah,
this will probably be
it
the
was a
tightest
very good
race.
race.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll probably be the tightest race we'll
it
see in
was
a while.
easily the best race since the Bellinger Yelich MVP run in
Hmm.
2019. That was very close. Um, but yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap up the MLB segment. We're gonna go ahead and slide over to college football now and let Mason go ahead and take that away. So Mason, go ahead.
All right, I got two big ones. And that is three Texas A&M losing 30-3 at half to unranked South Carolina, then ultimately winning 31-30 at the end of regulation. Marcel Reed threw for 439 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Casey Concepcion had 7 receptions for 158 yards, and then Ashton Bethel Roman 4 receptions, 139 yards, and touchdown. And then Sellers, he had a good first half and then just started selling. So 15 for 30, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. So that was probably the game of the year. I don't know if we'll see something like that in college football for a long time. Losing 30-3 at half, you're down 27. The only time you saw that in football was really the 28-3 Brady Falcons Super Bowl. And then the next one is 11 Oklahoma beating 4 Alabama in Tuscaloosa, 23-21. Alabama led in almost every stat, offensively and pretty much defensively. Total yards, time of possession, third and fourth down efficiency. Just had 3 turnovers to Oklahoma's 0. So that's ultimately what lost them the game. I mean, it's just Ty Simpson was playing a great game as far as yardage. Just is really the turnovers that lost them. So yeah, Oklahoma beating Alabama 23-21. So those are 2 really big games. Are the kind of the big ones that I was talking about. So yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice.
I didn't watch an ounce of college football this last week, so I have nothing.
Understandable.
Yeah. And then real quick, 30 seconds. I forgot to put this in the script, so I don't want to put you on the spot here, but we saw this UFC event that happened last week, Islam,
Oh yeah.
winning, becoming a double champ, some would say. Do you think Taporia should be the next fight?
Yes, bro. I don't think. I mean, if I had to, I'd pay for the pay-per-view for that just to see that fight, even if the card was bad. I'd pay the $70 for that fight. So, give the fans what they want. We missed out on, what's his name in John Jones. I can't even think of his name. What's
Aspinall.
his name? That's right. Yeah, but
Big
no. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
I think Taporia and Islam is the fight of the UFC right now. I think that's the one that fans probably want to see the most.
And it's doable.
So yeah, I agree. I think it's doable. I think that needs to be the next one, like next big super headline fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason signing off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, guys.